I spent years working on my backhand, and I've developed it to the point where I can get to 79 miles an hour and around 550 feet. And today I'm going to tell you how I got there and how I think that I can help you get there too. Let's get into it. The other day I was in a distance competition with my friend Joey, and I threw 550 feet with a very, very slight tailwind, but it wasn't more than 1 or 2 miles an hour. And so I finally reached that number. So I started playing around 2020. You can think back to the start of lockdown. I picked up a disc a few times in February, but I started getting going in August. And on the 6th of August, I threw 75 meters with a Wraith, probably something to do like this, completely muscling the disc. And in the space of 24 days, I went from 75 meters all the way up to 132 meters with an axiom vanish. So this difference is obviously it's not quite double, but it's a huge amount. I've got near to doubling the distance in just 24 days. And so what did I do during this time? Well, a lot of my time was spent looking at Paul Macbeth, looking at Simon Lazar. I was looking at who has the best form, mainly people like Simon, Eagle, and I would copy their form exactly. And I would try, well, obviously I wasn't doing it as good as possible, but I would try and get into the exact positions that they were getting into. Because if I get into the positions they get into, then I'm getting into the exact positions they're getting into. I'm going to get the same results if I do it exactly the same. Often needs over adjusting, because if it feels right and you're making a change, then you're probably not actually changing anything. It needs to probably feel wrong. So I would super slow motion get the right muscle memory down, and this enabled me to get into the power pocket. Power pocket is really necessary to get into, because if you don't get into that, then the rest of the throw isn't going to be utilized. Like, you can have the perfect legs and muscle the disc, and it's not really going to do anything. But that's the main thing. There's some information that I got on YouTube from coaches and just tips and tricks, but there's no one that's got absolutely everything. A lot of it is looking at professional form. You see someone like Slingshot Disc Golf, he's done the same thing. We looked at like Paul Macbeth, Drew, and modeled his form off theirs. Obviously, we're not exactly the same, but it's a great starting point to get most of the benefits. Now, for a couple of years, I would literally just, all I was doing, apart from a little bit of accuracy practice, was throwing as far as possible into the neighbouring field, as much as possible, to the dismay of my mum, who got a couple angry messages, but they're about my brother, not me, so we're fine. And I would just do this practice every single day, just trying to get new PBs, get further and further, get big wind distance, and I'd just do shots like this the whole time. But a bit headwindy there. Here's 550 feet with a Wraith. Promise and deliver. Now, there are 3 things that I want you to focus on. Okay, so the first thing is, you probably could guess it, that you need to be going to the gym. If you're not, then 1, you could get injured, and 2, you could be not throwing as far as if you were the type of person to go to the gym. So if I go to the gym, I've got much bigger potential for distance, because my muscles are stronger. I'm going to be training for things like power. I'm going to be training my legs. I'm going to be training my back, because these are the largest muscles. I'm going to be utilizing things. You could look at someone like Christian Quarksa. He throws the furthest, like the fastest out of anyone in the world. And so he's got some good stuff on his Instagram. But I'd also urge to look at other places on YouTube that have people that train for power. Maybe you could look at what like javelin throwers do. Those people are going to be the best at what they do, and you can glean the information from them, which will help you get, let's say you throw with 80% of your maximum amount of potential power if you had perfect form, and you're now throwing, I don't know, 400 feet, or you've got a 400 feet ceiling and you're throwing with 80%. If you can bump that up to 500 feet ceiling, then you can get to way higher without even getting really any better. And obviously you'll probably get better along the way because gym has many other benefits, but it's the first thing to look at, because if you can't physically reach 550 feet, you're never going to hit 500 feet. You've got to have that baseline, that foundation. And then the second thing is going to be legs. So every distance thrower has the same legs pretty much. They all have slightly varying upper bodies, but you'll watch, I'll just demonstrate now. So they will usually have, when they've got into their X step, be slightly on their toes, because you don't want to not enable yourself to internally rotate with this knee, but you'll be slightly on your toes, and then they'll stride out slightly forwards, and you'll notice that their left leg internally rotates and extends as their right leg externally rotates and extends. This means that with this, you're creating this force that's pushing this way, and then you've got this counter force that's pushing this way with your legs to rotate your torso, your pelvis, your hips, whatever you want to say. And this means that this is connected to your upper body with a strong core. And the faster that you can internally rotate and explode, so slow, and then if I get into this position, I'm internally rotating and exploding, then it means that the faster I can throw, because it's all about how quickly you can rotate and you can have the correct resistance for the force, so that you can get as much speed as possible. And then if you've got the speed, then, and it's basically power is strength times speed, then if you've got the strength and the speed, then you've got the power, and you're going to be able to throw properly. Now, another thing, the last point that I want to mention is going to be, when you're throwing, you want to have the least amount of power leaks as possible, but you want to stay in comfortable positions. You don't want to overextend backwards. So a lot of people will overextend and get out of their range of motion. You need to stay in your range of motion. You don't want to come back out here, because when you do need to come down quickly, you can't get in as quickly. You'll probably get into the power pocket, right? And you're left, let's say you've reached back here with your left arm, then you can't get in the right places at the right time. And it's not about how far you reach back, it's about staying in the, like, it's about going to the end of your range of motion, staying in the range of motion, and then coming through and getting into the right positions to allow you to get into the nice position where you've rotated, your upper body's rotated, and then you're able to follow through properly. It's the same thing for reaching back. You don't want to overdo it and start weight shifting, because then weight shifting is just hampering your ability to rotate as fast. So these are some key points to look at. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope that you're going to throw 500 feet as well. I'll see you guys in another one soon. Peace. It's another point. I didn't have any of I lost all my bosses, and I switched to flippy destroyers because I just got some. I got like 2 quickly, and they were incredible, and they go like 30 feet further than my bosses because they're too stable. I only have 1 left now, but you get the gist. You want to go with a flippy boss or nuke or something like that. It's going to be the biggest distance. I literally gained like 30 feet.